Imagine standing on the ancient walls of Jerusalem as the last light of day fades behind distant hills. The city exhales in quiet, olive trees sway gently in the moonlight, and travelers from distant lands seek their nightly rest. Tonight, we journey into a peaceful medieval night, where every stone, alley, and courtyard holds centuries of calm and whispered stories. Welcome, dear travelers and listeners, and thank you for joining us once again on Go to Sleep Historian. Wherever you are in the world, whether your day has been long or filled with quiet moments, tonight's story will carry you gently through the streets, walls, and groves of medieval Jerusalem. Before we begin, a small note. If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe to our channel and support our work. Our stories are designed not only to share history, but to guide you into restful sleep or gentle relaxation, often accompanied by an hour of calming music following the narration. Tonight, we will wander slowly through Jerusalem's sacred streets. Follow the watchmen on their nightly rounds, rest beside pilgrims, sharing stories from faraway lands, and breathe in the calm of olive groves beneath the moon. Every detail is designed to immerse you in peace, from the flicker of lanterns to the gentle rustle of leaves, from soft footsteps on cobblestones to the quiet hum of life at night. So, settle comfortably. Let your body relax. Let your mind drift alongside the ancient stones and serene landscapes, and together we will enter a peaceful night at the walls of Jerusalem. The sun drifted low over the Judean hills, its last golden rays spilling gently across the stones of Jerusalem. For a moment, the city glowed as if it held the light within itself, each tower warming into amber, each weathered block softening into a honey-colored blush. The air cooled with unhurried grace, and the day's final warmth faded into a deepening blue that spread across the sky like a calm blanket. High on the battlements, a stillness settled. The watchtowers cast long, restful shadows. The great stones, ancient, uneven, shaped by hands long forgotten, absorbed the fading light. A soft wind curled around the towers, bringing with it the distant scent of olive groves, wild thyme, and the faintest breath of dust from the valley below. It was the hour between light and darkness, where the world grew quiet not abruptly, but gently, like a lullaby easing toward silence. As shadows lengthened and deepened, the first oil lamps flickered to life along the ramparts. Their flames danced softly behind thin sheets of horn, casting warm circles of gold onto the walls. One by one, they glowed small, steady guardians pushing back the gathering dusk. These lamps, tended by careful hands each evening, marked the passing of time in the city. When they burned, Jerusalem prepared for sleep. Below the battlements, the city's narrow lanes began their slow descent into night. Shopkeepers folded cloth awnings. The last conversations faded as merchants lowered the shutters of their stalls. Smells of fresh bread, warm spices, and simmering lentils drifted gently into the cool air, before dissolving into the stillness. A few barefoot children, long past the hour their mothers called them home, scurried toward the stone steps leading to their dwellings, their laughter falling softer and softer with each retreating footstep. Inside the city gates, the atmosphere shifted from the energy of the day to the softness of coming night. The great walls soaring, firm, and hallowed by centuries stood in silent watch. Their presence alone comforted those who rested within them. Travelers and pilgrims who had entered before sunset moved quietly now, lowering their bundles, stretching aching legs, adjusting cloaks to guard against the coolness rising from the stones. From the highest tower, the city's chief watchman paused to observe the night's arrival. His gaze extended beyond the walls to the valleys below, past the sloping olive groves, past the winding footpaths, past the places where shepherds tended their flocks. He watched as the last rays of daylight slipped behind the horizon, leaving behind only a faint gold line that hovered for a moment before surrendering to gentle darkness. To him, this slow farewell of the sun was a familiar friend, a watchman. He greeted it like a ritual, knowing that with darkness came a different kind of peace, one that wrapped itself over the city with quiet devotion. As the sky dimmed, the first stars revealed themselves. Their cold, soft glow pricked through the deepening blue one, then another like tiny silver bells ringing in the heavens. They gathered slowly, patient and steady, until the night sky carried more light than shadow. Far above the city, the moon emerged from behind a thin veil of drifting clouds. Its pale presence washed across towers and domes, turning every stone into a soft, silver shape. A gentle hush followed, the day's final murmurs footsteps. Closing doors, the soft call of a mother soothing a child fell away. What remained was a calm breath, shared by the entire city. The city slept not all at once, but layer by layer, room by room, heart by heart. Near the western gates, pilgrims who had traveled far settled into small clusters. Some sat upon woven mats, loosening sandals worn from long roads of dust and sun. Others leaned against low stone walls, the coolness of the rock soothing after days of heat and travel. Those with homesick hearts closed their eyes and listened for any familiar sound, but found comfort instead in the peaceful hum of Jerusalem's nighttime silence. A young woman from a faraway village in the north emptied the last of her water into a clay cup and drank slowly. A scholar from a distant city in the east carefully wrapped a scroll to protect it from the night air. A family of 3 leaned on one another, whispering quiet prayers of gratitude for safe arrival. Even through their weariness, they carried a sense of awe of finally reaching a place storied in every tale they knew. Within the walls, the city streets cooled beneath the moon. The stone pathways, worn smooth by generations of footsteps, glowed faintly under the sky's silver light. Cats moved along the edges of alleys, pausing to peer into shadows before slipping away again. From a nearby courtyard, a single fountain continued its gentle trickle, sending ripples of soft sound into the stillness. In the upper quarter of the city, a lantern swung slowly from a wooden beam outside a baker's home. Its warm glow painted shapes on the descending stairway. Inside, the baker whispered to his apprentice as they prepared dough for the morning. Though their voices were low, the rhythm of their work kneading, shaping, smoothing had a calming steadiness that blended seamlessly with the quiet of the night. High above, the watchmen prepared for their rounds. Their slow, deliberate steps echoed lightly as they moved along the wall. The sound was neither sharp nor intrusive. It was a soft, reassuring pattern, like a heartbeat keeping time for the sleeping city. Each watchman carried an oil lamp, a spear, and a horn. Not for battle, no threat lurked in the quiet, but for the long tradition of guarding Jerusalem through its nights. Their duty was both ancient and peaceful. From their vantage point, the watchmen could see all the small movements that made up the living stillness of the city. The glow from scattered windows, the dim light of a distant brazier, the slow swaying of olive branches outside the walls. They watched over it all, not with tension but with calm vigilance. To them, the night was a companion, known and trusted. As full darkness enveloped the land, the holy city rested beneath its soft embrace. Every stone, every roof, every courtyard felt the same quiet rhythm. The world outside the walls hummed with the gentle breath of trees and distant animals. The world inside the walls dreamed in silence and safety. Jerusalem had entered its night unbroken, peaceful, and ancient. And so begins the story of a quiet, sacred night at the walls of Jerusalem. The first hour of night had fully settled over Jerusalem when the watchmen gathered at the base of the western tower. Their cloaks, thick and weathered, brushed softly against the stone as they prepared for the long, deliberate rhythm of their rounds. Each man had walked these ramparts many times before, yet every night felt unique, shaped by its own breeze, its own constellation of stars, its own quiet stories whispered through the city below. The chief watchman, a broad-shouldered older man named Elnan, lifted a brass lantern from its hook. Its horn windows glowed softly as the wick caught fire, releasing a warm, steady light. One by one, the others followed, igniting their lamps from his. As tradition dictated, the sharing of flame was their nightly ritual, a symbolic reminder that their duty was carried together, never alone. When the last lamp was lit, Elnan nodded, and the group began the ascent. The staircase spiraled upward inside the tower, cool, close, and echoing faintly with each footstep. The stone steps, smoothed by centuries, held the lingering chill of shaded rock. Their boots met the steps in slow, disciplined rhythm. Thump, thump, thump. A measured cadence, unhurried and steady, perfectly suited to the night's serenity. At the top of the tower, the world opened. A soft wind greeted them, slipping across the battlements with gentle fingers. It carried scents of olive wood, cool earth, and distant smoke rising from shepherds' fires in the valley. The moon hung high, now pale, round, and luminous, casting a silver veil across the land. Under its glow, Jerusalem looked both ancient and freshly born, as if the night itself remade the city in quiet beauty. The watchmen stepped onto the wall walk, each raising his lantern to check the surroundings. Their light touched the battlements briefly, flickering across embattled stone before dissolving into the open air. This was their realm, a narrow road of stone, suspended above the sleeping city. They moved together in a line, spaced evenly, maintaining silent communication with simple gestures. Their pace was measured and slow. Nothing hurried their steps. Nothing disturbed the peace they guarded. Their presence was less an act of defense and more a nightly blessing of steadiness, ensuring that the city beneath them felt safe enough to dream. To the left of their path, Jerusalem lay quiet. Roofs glowed faintly under the moon. Courtyards slept beneath fig and pomegranate trees. Narrow streets twisting, ancient, shaped by centuries of footsteps, in deep stillness. Only the occasional whisper of wind moved through them, carrying with it the faint scent of cooling stone. To the right, beyond the walls, the landscape stretched outward into gentle darkness. Olive groves rolled like silver shadows across the hills. Footpaths wound faintly through the countryside, pale ribbons beneath the night sky. In the distance, a few lanterns flickered signs of shepherds bedding down their flocks, or travelers seeking a place to rest before dawn. The watchman paused at the northern corner, where the wall turned sharply. Here, the view expanded to reveal a wider sweep of the land. One of the younger watchmen, named Hiram, took a slow breath and let the quiet wash over him. Though he had walked the wall for only a handful of years, he had already grown to love this hour, the moment when the city seemed to breathe in harmony with the night. Ilnan approached him quietly. "Even the stars are soft tonight," the chief watchman murmured, lifting his lantern just enough to illuminate the boy's face. Hiram nodded, speaking in a whisper, as all watchmen did during their rounds. "Yes, it feels as if the whole world is listening." And indeed, it did. The night was not silent in emptiness, but full of calm, sound gentle, layered, subtle, the flicker of lanterns, the sweep of wind brushing against towers, the distant echo of a lone donkey braying in the valley, the quiet breathing of pilgrims asleep near the gates. These sounds gathered into a tapestry of peace that only those who walked the walls truly heard. They resumed their pace. "Wait." Yet the watchman inspected the stones beneath their feet. These walls had endured 4 generations, and though they remained strong, every crack, every shift in mortar, every weather-worn edge mattered. They noted each detail carefully. The wall was more than a barrier. It was a living structure, shaped by time, tended by hands, and trusted by all within. As they continued eastward, their lanterns cast slow, swaying arcs of light across the rampart. The glow revealed the texture of ancient stones, pitted, grooved, and polished by centuries of night watchmen like themselves. Each stone held memories of ancient kings, of wandering caravans, of festivals long past, of quiet nights, much like this one. At the midpoint of their round, they reached a wooden bench set into a sheltered niche of the wall. Here, the watchman traditionally paused for a brief moment, not to rest fully, but to breathe in the night and offer silent thanks for its calmness. A small brazier glowed softly nearby, its embers shifting with each sigh of wind. The fragrance of burning olive wood drifted around them, warm and comforting. One of the older watchmen, Malak, placed a small handful of dried herbs upon the embers. They crackled softly, releasing a faint, soothing aroma, part ritual, part habit, part quiet. "Offering to the peace of the night, we light this not for protection," he whispered, "but for remembrance." The others bowed their heads briefly. A simpler Dehestran, a calm moment, a tradition preserved. After a few breaths, they continued. The eastern wall, closest to the rising moon, was brighter. The stones glowed as if dusted with powdered silver. Shadows stretched long and soft across the battlements. The view here was among the most beautiful hills rolling gently into the distance, their shapes softened by moonlight until they resembled slow waves on a sleeping sea. Hiram slowed his pace, mesmerized. "I never imagined the world could be this quiet," he whispered. Elnan smiled faintly, keeping his voice low. "Quiet doesn't mean empty, but it means everything rests together." And Hiram understood. The last leg of their round led them toward the southeastern tower, where a solitary bell hung silent unless needed. Its presence reminded them of nights long past when storms had approached, or when caravans arrived unexpectedly at the gates, or when travelers lost in the dark sought refuge. Tonight, the bell slept, its metal cool beneath the moon. At Dutuer, they checked the lock upon the gatehouse, inspected the beams, and ensured the torches stored for emergencies were dry and ready. Their movements were practiced and soundless. The night held steady. No cry from the valley, no distant horn, no urgent footstep rising from within the city. Only the calm breathing of Jerusalem under the watch of its guardians. When their circuit was complete, they returned to the western tower once more. The city remained peaceful. The stars shimmered overhead. The moon continued its slow path across the sky. Everything was as it should be. Elnan placed his lantern back upon the hook. The flame inside trembled briefly. "Tenstadid. Well done," he murmured to his men. "The night is ours to keep on weed." That the watchmen prepared for the next stretch of their quiet vigil, footsteps echoing softly along the ancient stones. Guardians of a city wrapped in sacred sleep. As the watchmen continue their measured steps atop the ancient battlements, the city beneath them begins to embrace the final quiet of night. The sun has vanished completely, leaving only a veil of twilight that deepens into gentle indigo. Within the heart of Jerusalem, life slows, and the monumental gates of the city, so familiar to generations of travelers and pilgrims, prepare to close their protective embrace. At the northern gate, the massive wooden doors groan as the final preparations for the night begin. Thick iron bands, blackened by centuries of weather, shimmer faintly in the lantern light as blacksmiths, their hands darkened with soot and calluses, hammer less reinforcements. Sparks fly briefly, dancing like tiny stars, only to vanish into the calm night. Their rhythmic work is slow and deliberate, each strike echoing softly across the courtyard, mingling with the distant steps of the watchmen above. Merchants, having finished their day's business, offer quiet prayers, whispering thanks for the safety of their wares and the blessings of the city. The faint scent of herbs and incense drifts from small shops and stalls, lingering in the air as a reminder of life lived in devotion and routine. The city is preparing for sleep, yet even these simple tasks, locking doors, extinguishing fires, murmured prayers, carry the weight and dignity of centuries-old tradition. Pilgrims arriving late from distant lands hurry across the stone streets, eager to pass through the gates before they are secured. Some carry small bundles. Others guide children whose eyes are heavy with fatigue. Yet all share a sense of relief at reaching the safety of the city's walls. The gates, enormous and ancient, have been guardians for centuries, protecting those within from the uncertainties of the outside world. Now, under the careful hands of the gatekeepers, they begin to swing slowly toward closure, their heavy timbers creaking softly in the night air. As the doors meet, the sound resonates like a gentle finality, a declaration that the city now rests under its own vigilance. The iron bolts are slid into place with deliberate care. Clangs and clicks mark the secure sealing of the gate, a rhythm that is echoed through countless nights. With each sound, the city exhales further, the last murmurs of day fading into quiet harmony. Jerusalem, already tranquil beneath the watchman's gaze, now seems wrapped in a protective embrace, its streets and alleys cocooned from the world beyond the walls. Inside, the blacksmiths finish their work for the night. Fires are slowly reduced to glowing embers, casting a soft warmth that lingers in the air. The rhythmic crackle of the dying flames adds a subtle music to the evening, a gentle companion to the whispers of the night wind through the trees and along the ramparts. Some merchants light small lanterns by their doors, a final gesture of hospitality before retreating into homes or small inns. Even in closing, the city radiates life, a calm energy that speaks of safety, care, and centuries of shared human endeavor. The last pilgrims find their resting places near the gates or in nearby courtyards. Some kneel briefly in silent prayer, giving thanks for safe passage and shelter. Others, exhausted by the days-long journeys across hills, valleys, and deserts, simply sit, leaning against cool stones, listening to the gentle creaking of the gates and the soft whisper of the night breeze. The city's protective walls now stand as a quiet promise, their strength both physical and spiritual, offering reassurance to all who dwell within. Above, the watchmen paused briefly at the corners of the battlements. From their vantage, they observe the last movements of the city. A lantern flickers, a door clicks closed, a distant laugh fades into silence. Their routine is unhurried, yet attentive. A meditation on vigilance and serenity. Each night, these guardians see the transition from the bustling day to the quiet night, witnessing a city that rests but never truly sleeps, for every stone, every gate, and every wall holds memory and duty intertwined. Outside the gates, the distant hills are now shrouded in shadows, the last traces of sunlight hidden. The air carries the coolness of approaching night, mingling with the faint scents of herbs and baked bread that linger near the indoors. Even beyond the walls, Jerusalem's influence extends, a calm order imposed upon the natural world where the rustle of leaves, the soft murmur of a stream, and the distant call of an owl become part of the city's nightly song. As the gates close fully, the city settles deeper into stillness. Lanterns glow gently in the streets, guiding those who remain awake, while the soft murmur of conversations fades. Even the footsteps of the watchmen, steady and deliberate, seem to harmonize with the city's rhythm. This is a moment of transition, a sacred pause between the life of the day and the deep rest of night. Here, Jerusalem stands as both sanctuary and witness, holding countless souls in its gentle embrace. And so, dear listener, as the gates close and the city rests, imagine yourself stepping quietly through the stone archways. Feel the sturdy doors behind you, the coolness of the evening air brushing your cheeks, and the soft glow of lanterns illuminating your path. Listen to the faint creak of the hinges, the whisper of wind through the olive trees, and the distant echo of footsteps on cobblestones. In this serene moment, the city is yours to explore quietly, to breathe with, and to rest beside, guided by centuries of peace and vigilance. When the story continues, we will follow the weary pilgrims, seeking their resting places, and the gentle rustle of the olive groves beneath the silver moonlight. And, as always, an hour of relaxing music will accompany the end of our spoken story, allowing you to drift gently into sleep. As Jerusalem settles beneath the watchful gaze of its walls, the city's pilgrims begin seeking quiet corners to rest. The gates, now firmly closed, mark the boundary between the bustling world outside and the serene life within. Inside these walls, travelers of all origins, monks in simple robes, merchants with heavy satchels, families with tired children, find a moment of respite after long journeys through sun-baked roads, rocky passes, and distant lands. Each pilgrim carries with them the weight of travel, yet also the relief of arrival, the subtle comfort of knowing they are safe within the city's embrace. In the central courtyard of a modest inn, a group of weary travelers gathers. Lanterns cast gentle pools of light on the stone floors, flickering across the walls and illuminating faces lined with fatigue and hope. The air carries the faint scent of herbs and bread, and the murmur of quiet conversation blends with the soft creak of wooden doors closing against the night. Travelers share smiles and brief stories of their journeys, though many words are left unspoken, carried instead in the relaxed sighs and gentle nods that mark the unspoken understanding of shared fatigue. Outside the inn, smaller courtyards and stone steps offer resting places for those who prefer solitude. A monk, having walked 4 days from distant mountain monasteries, kneels briefly in silent prayer before reclining upon a cool stone step, his breath slowing to the rhythm of the city. Nearby, a merchant guides his children to a shaded corner beneath the low arch of an olive tree. The leaves whisper in the night breeze, rustling softly as if to offer lullabies. Lanterns hang from wooden posts, their flames flickering gently, creating dancing shadows across the cobblestones. The pilgrim's gratitude for the city's protection is quiet yet profound. In their eyes, Jerusalem is more than a destination. It is a sanctuary, a place where the weary can rest without fear. Small fires in the courtyards cast a warm glow, flickering across the stones, and the gentle crackle of burning wood becomes part of the city's nocturnal symphony. Conversations are hushed, punctuated by occasional laughter or the soft murmuring of a prayer, blending seamlessly into the sounds of the city at rest. Among the travelers, some are scholars who have journeyed from distant lands to study sacred texts. They set their satchels down, carefully opening scrolls and manuscripts by candlelight for a final reading before the night deepens. The soft scratching of a quill on parchment, almost imperceptible, adds another layer to the city's quiet music. Their eyes grow heavy, yet even in rest, the pursuit of knowledge continues. Subtle and persistent, like ever-present stone beneath the walls that has witnessed centuries of learning and devotion. In the quieter alleys, families with children find comfort beneath low stone archways or near the walls themselves. Parents spread thin blankets, settle their little ones, and whisper gentle words of reassurance as they drift into sleep. The children's breathing becomes even and calm, merging with the soft sigh of the night breeze and the distant rhythm of the watchman's steps. Atop the battlements, even in the midst of fatigue, the city offers a sense of safety, of protection that has endured through centuries of pilgrims, traders, and worshippers. As the night deepens, Jerusalem's olive groves, visible through small openings between buildings, sway gently under the silver glow of the moon. The leaves murmur softly, blending with the quiet footfalls and faint voices of those still finding rest. Shepherd dogs, alert yet peaceful, settle beside their flocks, completing the tapestry of calm that stretches beyond the walls. Each sound, each flicker of light, each gentle breath of wind is part of a carefully woven nocturnal harmony, a lullaby composed by the city itself. Even in the small inns and private homes, quietude prevails. The clinking of dishes is subdued, the rustle of blankets gentle, and the soft sigh of those preparing for sleep a constant presence. Candles burn low in small rooms, casting shadows that dance across walls, reminding all who see them of the continuity of life within these ancient stones. Outside, the city streets are silent, except for the occasional murmurs of travelers seeking the comfort of a final corner or doorway. The air carries the coolness of evening, fragrant with herbs, stone, and the distant groves beyond the walls. In this calm, Jerusalem offers more than shelter. It offers peace. Pilgrims, tired and quiet, rest with the knowledge that the city's walls are steadfast, the watchmen vigilant, and the night itself protective. The city's heartbeat slows, measured and steady, echoing softly in the gentle sighs of those at ease. Even the stone underfoot seems to hum softly, a reminder that Jerusalem has always held the weary and the wandering with care, patience, and enduring grace. So, dear listener, imagine yourself walking quietly among these travelers, feeling the cool stones beneath your feet, the soft sway of olive branches above, and the distant glow of lanterns reflecting in your eyes. Listen to the whispered prayers, the hushed conversations, and the subtle symphony of the city settling into night. Every sound, every shadow, every breath contributes to a tapestry of calm that invites you to rest as well. And when our story concludes, an hour of relaxing music will continue to carry you deeper into sleep, alongside the pilgrims resting peacefully beneath Jerusalem's ancient walls. Tonight, you, too, are embraced by the city's serenity, gently guided toward rest and quiet dreams. Beyond the stone walls of Jerusalem, the evening air grows cooler, carrying the soft scent of earth and olive trees. Here, the city's watchful guardians are silhouetted against the moonlit ramparts, while below, the landscape stretches outward into gentle hills dotted with groves. Silver moonlight drifts across the leaves, glinting softly like tiny lanterns scattered throughout the branches. The olive trees sway ever so slightly, their whispers mingling with the soft chorus of the night. The faint rustle of grass, the call of a distant night bird, and the low murmur of water in hidden streams. The groves outside the city walls seem to cradle the land, offering shelter to shepherds, travelers, and wandering animals alike. Dogs rest beside flocks, their breathing slow and steady, ears flicking occasionally to the faint sounds of the city beyond. Sheep huddled together, their soft bleating merging with the whisper of the wind through the silvered leaves. The landscape itself seems to breathe gently, folding the city and its surroundings into a vast, protective blanket that stretches beneath the vast night sky. Among the trees, the moonlight casts long, delicate shadows on the earth, turning the groves into a serene labyrinth of light and dark. Each branch, each leaf, seems to have a story of centuries past, of hands that pruned the trees, of travelers who sought shade and solace. The rustling of the olive branches becomes a lullaby of continuity, a reminder that nature, like the city walls, endures across time. The soft patter of dew beginning to settle on the ground adds a subtle shimmer to the scene, and the faint fragrance of olives mingles with the earthy scent of soil. In these groves, distant travelers from the city sometimes wander, guided by curiosity or necessity. A lone pilgrim rests beneath the broad branches of an olive tree, lying on a simple mat of woven reeds. The cool ground soothes tired limbs, and the gentle sway of the branches above mirrors the rhythm of the traveler's breath. Nearby, a shepherd checks on his flock, moving slowly and deliberately. The soft clink of a staff against the stones and earth, blending seamlessly with the night's quiet music. Each sound, no matter how small, seems amplified in the stillness of the grove, becoming part of the city's nightly harmony. As your mind drifts among the groves, dear listener, notice the intricate patterns of light and shadow across the twisted trunks and silvery leaves. The branches reach skyward, their leaves catching the moonlight, creating a dance of glimmering silver and deep shade. Here, the world feels suspended, removed from the passage of hours and the demands of daily life. Even the animals, alert yet calm, contribute to the peaceful rhythm. A soft snuffle of a sheep, the shuffle of a dog settling, the distant rustle of small creatures hidden in the underbrush. All of it becomes part of a gentle symphony, composed of the simplest, most serene elements of nature. So my pilgrims, having wandered beyond the city gates for evening prayer or reflection, find these groves ideal for contemplation. Kneeling beneath a bough or leaning against an ancient tree, they let the city's soft glow fade from sight and immerse themselves in the quiet intimacy of moonlit nature. Their whispered prayers, gently murmurs, and the occasional sound of a shifting cloak mingle with the night, creating a calm, reverent atmosphere that bridges the human and natural worlds. It is here that the city's influence extends beyond its walls, touching the land, the animals, and the travelers with its quiet grace. The moon climbs higher, casting a pale, ethereal glow over the landscape. Shadows stretch and shift, following the gentle movements of leaves and branches. Dew continues to gather on the earth, making the soil cool and fragrant. A distant nightbird calls softly, its song brief yet resonant, echoing across the hills. The grove, though vast and ancient, feels intimate, as if each olive tree is aware of the life it shelters and the serenity it provides. Here, in this silvered world, even the smallest rustle becomes a gentle heartbeat of the land. And yet, the grove is not silent in emptiness. The soft footsteps of a wandering pilgrim, the careful pacing of a shepherd, the distant echo of the city walls, and the gentle sigh of the wind all converge into a quiet, rhythmic presence. Each element reinforces the sense of continuity, of night following day, of centuries passing, yet preserving moments of calm and reflection, of a land and city intertwined in a timeless embrace. It is a place to pause, breathe, and let your thoughts drift like the silvered leaves above. Tonight, dear listener, allow yourself to step softly among these groves. Feel the cool earth beneath your feet, the moonlight brushing your face, and the gentle sway of olive branches. Let the night wrap you in its calm, and let the subtle, serene sounds of the natural world guide you into a gentle state of rest. Jerusalem's walls, so steadfast and enduring, cast their quiet influence beyond stone, reaching even into the moonlit groves, inviting you to partake in the tranquility of the night. When our story continues, we will return to the city to explore the few corners of life that remain awake, the night markets and quiet activity hidden in the city's stone alleys. And as always, an hour of relaxing music will follow, carrying you further into sleep alongside the peaceful groves and resting city. Even as the olive groves outside the city walls bask in moonlight, Jerusalem itself maintains a quiet rhythm of life, though the gates are closed and most of the city rests. A few corners remain awake. The night markets, tucked into alleys and small courtyards, continue their gentle work. Here, the soft glow of lanterns illuminates stalls and windows, casting flickering shadows on stone walls and cobbled streets, while the faint aroma of spices and freshly baked bread mingles with the night air. Merchants move quietly, their motions deliberate and careful. Spice sellers carefully pack the last bundles of herbs, the rich scents of cinnamon, clove, and dried lavender hanging faintly in the air. Small trays of nuts, dried fruits, and sweet pastries are their surfaces catching the soft light, revealing a subtle sheen of sugar and honey. Every movement is slow, mindful, as if the merchants themselves are aware of the night's gentle hush, taking care not to disturb the sleeping city. Bakers stir dough for the early morning, kneading softly in quiet kitchens. The warm scent of rising bread drifts through latticed windows into the streets, mingling with the cooler night air. Occasionally, a soft clang of a copper bowl or a muted tap of a wooden paddle punctuates the otherwise gentle silence. Even the small cats that roam the rooftops seem aware of the calm, padding softly along beams and tiles, their tails flicking with graceful caution. Every creature, every motion, is attuned to the city's slow heartbeat at this hour. Travelers moving through the markets pause briefly to glance at these nocturnal preparations. Some, arriving late from distant journeys, exchange whispered greetings with the vendors, careful not to disturb the stillness. The few lights that glow from windows hint at rooms occupied by night workers, quietly finishing tasks that will greet the dawn with readiness. Each sound, the soft shuffle of sandals, the faint clink of a coin, the careful arrangement of goods, becomes part of the city's nocturnal symphony, a gentle counterpoint to the deep stillness elsewhere. In narrow alleyways, shadows twist as the lamplight flickers against textured stone. A baker's apprentice carries a tray of pastries to a small inn, navigating the quiet streets with practiced care. His footsteps, soft on the worn stones, echo faintly, harmonizing with the distant pacing of the watchmen on the walls above. Lanterns hanging from hooks sway gently in the breeze, their light casting dancing patterns across arches and courtyards. Even the wind seems tempered in these alleys, whispering rather than howling, brushing softly against stone and wood. Some vendors take a moment to rest themselves, leaning against door frames or low walls. Their faces reflect the flickering lanterns, serene in the stillness of their tasks. Perhaps a sip of water or a bite of bread accompanies a quiet thought, a reflection on the day that has passed. Others, attentive to their responsibilities, continue arranging goods, folding herbs, or checking supplies, each gesture deliberate, slow, and rhythmic. The night, far from being empty, is filled with a measured life that respects both the city's quiet and its purpose. From higher vantage points, Jerusalem's walls glow faintly in the moonlight, framing the scene below. The watchman's footsteps echo softly from above, their presence steady and reassuring. Their calm vigilance mirrors the careful movements within the night markets, creating a sense of order and continuity. The city, at once alive and serene, pulses with a rhythm that is slow, deliberate, and deeply comforting. Outside the alleys, the sound of distant fountains trickling adds a faint melody to the scene. Water, flowing over stone, blends with the soft murmur of human activity, creating a lullaby unique to Jerusalem's night. The scent of herbs, baked goods, and damp earth mingles to create an invisible tapestry that blankets the senses. In these moments, the city reveals itself as a living, breathing entity, one that holds the night with care, protecting both its people and its travelers in a quiet, enduring embrace. Even the stray animals of the streets seem attuned to this rhythm. Cats move silently, pausing to inspect corners and shadows, their soft purrs blending with the distant murmur of the market. Dogs, having followed their owners or left to roam, rest at thresholds. Alert yet peaceful, their calm vigilance mirrors that of the watchmen and merchants, an echo of the city's overall harmony. Dear listener, imagine yourself wandering slowly through these nocturnal streets, passing beneath lantern-lit arches and alongside carefully arranged stalls. Feel the cool stones beneath your feet, the faint aroma of spices and bread in the air, and the gentle whisper of the wind against your cheeks. Each soft sound, each flickering shadow, and each rhythmic movement contributes to a sense of calm that seeps into your very being. Jerusalem, even in these quiet hours, is alive yet serene, inviting you to move gently through its alleys and settle into the peace of the night. And soon, the night will carry us further along the sacred streets, where stone and shadow blend into a slow, reflective walk through the heart of the city. And as always, an hour of relaxing music will follow the story, guiding you deeper into restful slumber alongside the softly humming city. As the night deepens, Jerusalem's streets fall into a serene hush. The gentle glow of lanterns illuminates narrow alleys and worn stone pathways, casting dancing shadows across carved doorways and arched corridors. The city seems to breathe slowly, deliberately, inviting those who wander to match its pace. Tonight, we walk together, dear listener, through the sacred streets, where each stone carries centuries of memory, and every corner whispers stories of devotion, faith, and quiet contemplation. The air is cool and fragrant. From nearby courtyards, faint scents of herbs and small fires drift softly, mingling with the aroma of olive trees beyond the walls. A gentle breeze stirs, rustling leaves and brushing against the arches of the streets. Every sound, no matter how small, the distant murmur of a sleeping pilgrim, the soft clink of a lantern, the whisper of wind through branches, becomes part of the city's nocturnal melody. In Quiet, Jerusalem reveals itself not as a bustling metropolis, but as a living tapestry of history, peace, and reverence. Walking slowly, you notice the textures beneath your feet. Cobblestones, smoothed by countless travelers, edges worn by the sandals of pilgrims, traders, and townsfolk who came before. The sound of your footsteps blends softly with the faint echo of distant water trickling from a hidden fountain. Its gentle, rhythmic murmur seems to pulse in harmony with the city itself, adding a quiet heartbeat to the peaceful night. Along the sacred streets, small temples and sanctuaries stand in stillness. Their wooden doors are closed, yet faint incense rises from a few open windows, curling into the cool air. The scent is subtle but lingering, carrying with it centuries of devotion and quiet prayers. Shadows of carved stone reliefs dance across the walls, illuminated by lantern light, suggesting figures frozen in prayer or contemplation. Every detail, no matter how small, seems to contribute to the city's meditative rhythm. Occasionally, a pilgrim passes silently along the streets, their cloak brushing softly against the walls. Perhaps they pause for a moment of reflection, their gaze resting on a familiar symbol, a fountain, or an ancient archway. Their footsteps are careful, reverent, blending with the whispers of the night. Each passerby, though few, adds to the living stillness of Jerusalem, a reminder that, even in rest, the city is never entirely without life. The cool air carries the faint sounds of nocturnal animals. A bird calls softly from a nearby rooftop, echoing briefly between the stone walls. Somewhere in the distance, a dog sighs and curls beside its master. The gentle rustle of leaves in the wind creates a soft, continuous hum. Together, these elements form a symphony of calm, an unhurried lullaby for those walking among the sacred streets. Some corners reveal courtyards where small fires still glow. Families of pilgrims, now quiet, rest beneath arches or low trees. A child shifts in sleep, a mother smooths a blanket, and a few whispered words of reassurance carry across the stones. The combination of gentle human presence and natural sounds gives the city a comforting, alive, yet tranquil aura. Jerusalem's streets are not empty. They are filled with a harmony that invites reflection, gratitude, and rest. In certain alleyways, the soft reflection of lantern light catches the worn edges of steps and doorways. Shadows lengthen, overlap, and then recede as the flickering flames dance across the surfaces. The interplay of light and stone creates an almost meditative experience, a slow passage through layers of time, memory, and devotion. Each detail, each sound, each movement becomes part of the listener's journey, guiding the mind gently toward calmness and peace. As you wander, imagine tracing your fingers along the cool stone walls, feeling the smoothness worn by centuries of hands. Notice the tiny cracks and carvings, each one a subtle mark of the city's long life. The air feels weightless, carrying the faint scent of night-blooming flowers, the soft aroma of herbs, and the ever-present fragrance of the olive groves beyond the walls. Every breath deepens your connection to this serene medieval city, grounding you in the quiet rhythm of its night. Tonight, as we walk through Jerusalem's sacred streets, we are neither travelers nor pilgrims alone. We are witnesses to the city's nightly ritual, participants in its slow, reflective heartbeat. Let your eyes drift over arches and lanterns, your ears absorb the gentle sounds, your hands brush against stones that have held centuries of life. In this calm, every step guides you closer to rest, every sound lulls you further into peace. And soon, dear listener, we will pause to hear the stories shared by the pilgrims themselves. Tales of distant lands, memories of journeys past, and reflections that blend the world outside with the quiet sanctuary of Jerusalem. These voices, gentle and soft, will add another layer to our journey through the night, carrying us ever deeper into calm contemplation and restful slumber. As always, following our spoken story, an hour of relaxing music will continue to guide you gently into sleep, accompanied by the city's serene nocturnal melody. As the city settles deeper into night, Jerusalem's walls become silent witnesses to the gentle conversations of those who have journeyed far. Pilgrims, resting near courtyards, inns, and shaded steps, begin to share their stories. Whispered recollections of distant lands, quiet memories of long journeys, and tales carried from generations past. Each voice is soft, blending seamlessly with the night, creating a tapestry of sound that is calm, intimate, and richly human. Near a small courtyard lantern, a monk from the distant mountains recounts his passage through snow-covered passes and rocky cliffs. His voice is low, rhythmic, as if each word is part of a chant. He speaks of the wind that bit through layers of woolen robes, of the stars that guided him when roads were lost, and of the quiet camaraderie of fellow travelers who shared a fire and bread along the way. The listener can almost feel the cold mountain air, smell the pine trees, and sense the vast solitude he endured, yet always with faith as his guide. Beside him, a merchant from a coastal city shares the gentle sway of sea voyages. He speaks of waves like rolling hills of liquid silver, the scent of salt carried by the wind, and the distant horizon where the sky and water met in endless embrace. He recalls the patience required to wait for safe passages, the calm discipline of steering ships by the stars, and the quiet joy when familiar ports appeared on the horizon after weeks at sea. Each word resonates in the hush of night, as if the stories themselves were a kind of prayer, acknowledging the vastness of the world and the small sanctuary of the city they now inhabit. Families resting near the walls offer their own recollections. Children lean sleepily against parents, listening to tales of villages and towns far away, fields of golden grain, orchards heavy with fruit, and markets bustling with traders. Parents recount the simple rituals of daily life, preparing meals, tending animals, sharing laughter at small joys. These stories, spoken in gentle tones, become lullabies of memory, blending past and present into the serene night. The walls, ancient and steadfast, seem to embrace these whispers, holding them within their stone as a silent testament to human continuity. Even distant travelers who are newly arrived contribute to the evening's calm narrative. A scholar, carrying scrolls from distant monasteries, describes libraries filled with fragile manuscripts, each page a delicate record of knowledge preserved through time. He tells of quiet study by candlelight, the smell of ink, and the deliberate rhythm of a scholar's pen, tracing symbols across parchment. The story flows softly, almost like a gentle tide, harmonizing with the city's nocturnal heartbeat and the rustle of olive trees outside. All around, small fires flicker in courtyards, casting gentle light on listening faces. The warm glow highlights soft features, glimmering in eyes, reflecting the night's serenity. Every pause, every sigh, every careful gesture, adjusting a cloak, lifting a cup of water, settling a child is part of the slow rhythm of rest and storytelling. The city seems to exhale with these narratives, the walls absorbing the voices and offering back their calm and silent reassurance. The tales, though quiet, carry subtle lessons and reflections. They speak of patience, endurance, faith, and gratitude. Even the hardships encountered, harsh weather, Long roads, lost companions are recounted without alarm, softened by the gentle intimacy of night. These stories do not demand action or response. They exist simply to be heard, absorbed, and shared in the quiet communion of the city's nightly calm. Between stories, the natural world hums softly, the rustle of olive leaves, the distant sigh of night animals, and the occasional soft clink of a lantern create a delicate symphony that frames the pilgrims' voices. The night feels alive, yet restful, embracing all who listen in its serene rhythm. Every sound, human or natural, becomes part of the lullaby that Jerusalem sings to those who dwell within and near its walls. As the night deepens further, the voices of pilgrims gradually soften. Conversations fade to murmurs to silence. Yet even in quiet, the stories linger, impressions of distant lands, memories of journeys past, reflections on the kindness of strangers, and the steady presence of the city itself. The walls, the lanterns, the olive trees, and the faint wind carry these memories gently across the night, weaving them into the city's enduring tapestry. Tonight, dear listener, allow yourself to drift alongside these voices. Feel the calm of shared human experience, the gentle continuity of life and memory, and the comforting presence of ancient walls holding all within their embrace. Let each story, softly spoken and carefully shared, guide your thoughts into rest, blending your imagination with the serene rhythm of the city. And soon, we will join the watchmen once more on the ramparts, listening to their quiet reflections and memories of nights past, tying the present tranquility to centuries of guardianship. As always, after the spoken story concludes, an hour of relaxing music will continue to carry you further into deep, peaceful slumber, accompanied by the restful heart of Jerusalem. As the pilgrims rest and the night settles deep within Jerusalem, the city's watchmen continue their measured patrol along the ramparts. Their lanterns sway gently, casting warm pools of light onto the ancient stone, and their footsteps echo softly over the battlements. But tonight, their routine carries more than mere vigilance. It is a quiet reflection, a meditation upon centuries of nights past. In hushed tones, they share stories of the city they guard, tales that span generations, seasons, and the countless souls who have walked these walls before. One watchman, leaning on his staff while gazing over the moonlit city, begins to speak of winters long ago. The walls, he recalls, were dusted with rare snow, turning Jerusalem into a pale, crystalline fortress. Footsteps of travelers trudged slowly, muffled by the cold, and fires glowed faintly through windows, their smoke curling toward the starry sky. Even then, the rhythm of the night, the patrolling of watchmen, the whisper of wind through trees, the distant bleat of flocks, mirrored the calm continuity that persists in every night that follows. His companion, listening intently, recounts memories of peaceful summers. The stone beneath their feet radiated gentle warmth long after sunset, while fragrant jasmine and olive trees perfumed the evening air. Travelers would pause beneath the gates, wiping sweat from their brows, their eyes catching the golden glow of lanterns as the city welcomed them. In these moments, the watchmen recall, the city seemed to breathe with deliberate serenity, a harmony of human endeavor and natural rhythm that endures still. Their conversation drifts to the masters who trained them, veterans of the walls who taught not only vigilance, but patience, attentiveness, and the sacred responsibility of guardianship. These lessons, passed down quietly from one generation to the next, emphasize that the walls are more than stone and mortar. They are keepers of memory, observers of faith, and witnesses to human life in its simplest and most profound forms. Even in the silence of night, every step along the ramparts carries echoes of those who have walked before, each patrol a link in an unbroken chain spanning centuries. The watchmen also speak of moments when the city has come was most apparent, evenings when lanterns flickered along streets, now long forgotten, the soft laughter of children playing briefly before sleep, or the quiet sigh of travelers resting in courtyards. These memories, though ancient, are never lost. They linger in the very stones of the walls, in the grooves of worn steps, and in the gentle sway of trees beyond the gates. Listening to these stories, one senses the deep continuity between past and present, a gentle thread tying tonight's peace to countless nights before. Occasionally, the wind picks up along the ramparts, rustling the leaves of olive trees and carrying faint scents of herbs and bread from the city below. The watchmen pause to appreciate the simplicity of these moments, the cool air against their faces, the distant call of an owl, the quiet reflection of lantern light upon stone. Each small sensation, each subtle sound, becomes a marker in time, a reminder that the city, though ancient, remains alive with observation, memory, and calm endurance. Stories of distant travelers also reach the watchman's ears. Tales of pilgrims from faraway lands, merchants arriving with treasures and knowledge, and scholars carrying delicate scrolls through deserts and mountains enrich the night with quiet humanity. The watchmen imagine these travelers resting, their soft breathing blending with the rustle of leaves and distant murmurs of fountains. The walls, patient and steadfast, provide a constant embrace, witnessing both the lives of those within and the vast histories they carry. Even as hours pass and the moon arcs high overhead, the watchmen's reflections maintain a soothing rhythm. They speak of minor adventures, lost coins returned to grateful hands, small acts of kindness shared at midnight, and fleeting glimpses of rare, starlit skies beyond the hills. These small narratives, gentle and detailed, reinforce the enduring peace of the city, the subtle magic of night, and the quiet dignity of life carried out in harmony with history. Tonight, dear listener, as you imagine walking beside these vigilant guardians, let their voices guide you into reflection. Hear the faint echo of their steps on ancient stone, the warmth of lanterns lighting the battlements, and the soft cadence of stories carried across centuries. Feel the calm assurance that the city offers, a continuity of care, patience, and quiet watchfulness. Every story, every memory, every whisper of wind becomes a thread woven into the city's nightly tapestry, inviting you to join in its serenity. Soon, the city will approach its deepest hours, where only the faintest sounds remain. The whispering wind, the distant bleating of flocks, and the low breathing of resting pilgrims. The watchman's tales, though quiet, continue to echo softly in stone and mind, bridging past and present, guiding you further into calm awareness and gentle repose. And after the spoken story concludes, an hour of relaxing music will accompany you, extending the peace of the night, wrapping you in the same quiet, enduring protection that Jerusalem has offered for centuries. As the watchmen continue their gentle pacing and the pilgrims rest within the city walls, Jerusalem drifts into the deepest hours of night. Time seems suspended, stretched thin over ancient stones and silent streets. Lanterns glow faintly along the alleys, casting long, slow-moving shadows that stretch across the walls and courtyards. The air is cool, carrying with it a soft perfume of olive groves, herbs, and the faintest trace of incense from sacred spaces within the city. Everything speaks of stillness, a serene hush that blankets both stone and soul. Within the sleeping courtyards, pilgrims breathe softly, their bodies heavy with the fatigue of travel. Parents rest beside children, monks recline on stone steps, and weary merchants stretch upon mats or benches. The city, though vast and full of history, seems to shrink in these hours, becoming an intimate sanctuary for all who dwell within. Each soft sigh, each even breath, blends into the quiet symphony of the night, a melody carried gently along stone corridors and into the groves beyond the walls. Above, the watchmen continue their rounds, each step measured and deliberate. Their lanterns swing slowly, illuminating worn battlements and tracing the contours of the city beneath. Every creak of wood, every faint echo of footfall, harmonizes with the rhythm of rest below. From their vantage, Jerusalem is a mosaic of glowing windows, darkened streets, and flickering lanterns. A city at once alive and fully at peace. Even the walls seem to exhale, releasing centuries of tension into the calm night air. Outside, the olive groves sway in a gentle breeze. The silver moonlight reflects off the leaves, creating shimmering patterns on the earth. Shepherds' dogs lie beside their flocks, alert yet undisturbed, while distant animals stir briefly before settling once more. The natural world, like the city itself, moves in slow, deliberate harmony. Each rustle of leaves, each distant bird call, Each sigh of wind is a note in a quiet nocturnal symphony, perfectly attuned to the rhythm of rest. Even the few remaining night sounds are softened by distance and memory. The faint trickle of fountains echoes gently through alleys, a distant cat pads along rooftops, its footsteps absorbed by the city's stones. Somewhere far off, a nightbird sings a brief, melodic call before silence returns. Each sound, subtle and fleeting, adds texture to the night, a gentle reminder that life persists in the hush of darkness. The city's architecture itself contributes to the calm. Thick stone walls absorb noise, narrow alleyways funnel gentle breezes, and arches guide lantern light into warm, subdued patterns. Every element, from carved door frames to worn steps, seems designed to support the tranquility of the night. Even the smallest details unnoticed in the bustle of day reveal themselves here. The faint imprint of a traveler's sandals on a stone floor, the soft glow of a fire beneath a courtyard window, the delicate sway of an olive branch brushing against a wall. Within these deepest hours, time itself feels suspended. It is neither early nor late, neither hurried nor slow, but perfectly balanced. The city and its inhabitants exist in a quiet equilibrium, a delicate dance between vigilance and rest, between presence and silence. Listeners, too, may feel this suspension, a gentle slowing of thought, a softening of awareness, a gradual letting go of the day's burdens. Here, in the embrace of Jerusalem's night, the world narrows to the rhythm of calm, a heartbeat, a breath, a gentle sigh. Even in this profound stillness, small movements remind the city of life. A lantern is gently adjusted in a corner window. A blanket is tucked more snugly around a sleeping child. The faint murmur of a pilgrim's prayer floats across a courtyard. These subtle actions blend with the natural sounds outside. The whispering leaves, the soft breathing of flocks, the distant croak of a frog by a hidden stream. Together, they create a quiet harmony, a lullaby woven of human care and nature's gentle presence. Dear listener, allow yourself to drift through this deepest hour. Feel the cool stone beneath your feet, the soft murmur of the wind through olive branches, and the reassuring presence of watchful lanterns above. Let each small sound, a distant footstep, a rustle of leaves, a soft sigh guide your awareness gently. Imagine the city breathing in perfect unison, its ancient stones holding centuries of peace, every corner and courtyard offering sanctuary and stillness. And soon, as the night begins its slow retreat, pale light will appear on the horizon. Pilgrims will stir, lanterns will glow faintly brighter, and watchmen will prepare to end their shift. Jerusalem's walls, steadfast and patient, will welcome the coming day without haste. And following our spoken story, an hour of relaxing music will continue to guide you, carrying you through this deepest night into peaceful, restorative sleep. As the night begins its slow retreat, a pale, silvery light creeps over the eastern horizon. The first hints of dawn touch the rooftops, spilling gently across Jerusalem's stone walls. Shadows that danced and flickered through the night begin to soften, blending into the subtle hues of morning. The city stirs, though not yet fully awake. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and steeped in the serene rhythm of night's end. At the eastern gate, one of the city's oldest entrances, watchmen prepare to conclude their vigil. Their lanterns sway softly, illuminating worn stones that have guided countless generations. Each step along the ramparts, each careful glance over the walls, carries both history and anticipation. The night's coolness clings to their cloaks, yet a gentle warmth begins to rise as the first sunlight brushes the horizon. That presence remains calm and measured, a reminder that Jerusalem's day will awaken gradually, without haste. Pilgrims, stirred by the subtle change in light, begin to shift in their courtyards and inns. Soft sighs, the gentle rustle of blankets, and whispered words of comfort accompany the slow awakening of bodies weary from long journeys. Some stretch and rise, their eyes reflecting the pale glow of dawn, while others simply turn within the quiet embrace of sleep. Each movement adds to the city's emerging rhythm, a delicate bridge between night's calm and day's arrival. From the CT's higher vantage points, the walls themselves seem to shimmer with the ethereal light. Stones bathed in the first hints of morning glow faintly blue, almost as if holding the memory of the night within them. Lanterns, now dim against the growing light, still cast soft warmth in doorways and courtyards. Olive groves beyond the walls begin to stir in the gentle breeze, their leaves catching the soft illumination of the morning sky. Even the distant hills, once cloaked in shadow, reveal muted greens and browns, creating a serene backdrop for Jerusalem's awakening. Some pilgrims, feeling the approach of dawn, rise to greet the day with quiet rituals. A monk kneels briefly on cool stone, offering silent prayers of gratitude. A family stretches beneath the last lingering shadows of the walls, gazing toward the soft horizon where sky meets city. Merchants prepare quietly for the day, lifting shutters and arranging goods for the morning market. These actions are calm, unhurried, and harmoniously timed with the gradual shift from night to day. Birdsong begins to rise, soft at first, then swelling gently across courtyards and rooftops. Each note carries the promise of morning, the subtle awakening of life, and the continuation of the city's enduring rhythm. Even the watchmen, now nearing the end of their shift, pause to appreciate this serene transition. The walls, steeped in centuries of vigil, seem to hum faintly in response, offering a silent acknowledgement of another night successfully held in peace. The air itself feels alive yet gentle. The faint fragrance of night-blooming herbs mingles with the first hints of sunlight warming the city. Breezes carry the subtle murmur of distant fountains, the soft clatter of shutters opening, and the occasional gentle cry of an early bird. Every sound, every movement, is tender and restrained, a perfect complement to the slow, measured beauty of dawn over Jerusalem. At the eastern gate, the earliest travelers stir. Pilgrims prepare to depart for their next journey. Merchants anticipate the day's first customers, and the watchmen pass their duties to the next shift. The city, though almost fully asleep only moments before, now hums with a subdued energy, alive but calm, moving with quiet purpose. The delicate interplay of night-s remnants and morning-s first light creates an almost magical atmosphere, a liminal moment where time seems to pause in gentle contemplation. Dear listener, imagine standing at this gate yourself, feeling the cool stones beneath your hands, inhaling the soft scents of the waking city, and watching the pale light spread slowly across rooftops and walls. Every sound, the faint stirring of pilgrims, the rustle of leaves, the distant murmur of water draws you deeper into a state of calm, reflecting both the serenity of the night that has passed and the gentle promise of the day to come. Soon, the city will fully awaken. Lanterns will be extinguished, gates will open, and merchants will lift their shutters to greet the morning. The calm night will give way to the soft rhythm of daily life, yet the peace of the past hours will linger, gently echoing in every step and breath. Following this spoken story, an hour of relaxing music will continue, carrying you from the final whispers of night into restful dreams, guided by the timeless heartbeat of Jerusalem, the first true light of day. Now graces Jerusalem. Golden rays stretch slowly across rooftops and stone walls, spilling into quiet courtyards and winding streets. Lanterns have long been extinguished, leaving only the soft, natural glow of dawn to illuminate the city. The eastern gate, once bathed in the pale, ethereal blue of first light, now reflects the warm, steady glow of morning. The city begins to awaken gently, its heartbeat slow and deliberate, echoing centuries of routine and resilience. Birdsong rises throughout the streets, a gentle chorus greeting the day. Small flocks hop along rooftops, their soft chirps mingling with the faint rustle of leaves in olive groves and gardens. The call of doves echoes across courtyards, and the faint clatter of shutters lifting signals the first stirrings of merchants and innkeepers. The city breathes in unison, a rhythm born from centuries of dawns, witnessed atop its ancient stones. Pilgrims begin to awaken fully, stretching beneath the soft warmth of the morning sun. Families adjust blankets and mats, their movements slow, careful, and filled with gratitude for the peaceful night behind the walls. Monks rise in quiet reflection, their prayers now mingled with the gentle sounds of morning, connecting the sacred past with the present moment. Even the weary travelers who arrive from distant lands feel rejuvenated, wrapped in the calm continuity of Jerusalem's rhythm. The watchmen finish their final patrols along the walls, passing their duties to the day shift. Their lanterns are packed away, and their steady footsteps retreat, leaving the ramparts bathed in the soft light of morning. From this vantage, the city unfolds in quiet beauty. Cobblestone streets glimmer with dew. Courtyards glow warmly, and the distant hills beyond the walls bask in the gentle touch of sunlight. Every corner seems alive yet serene, every movement measured and unhurried. Merchants now lift their shutters fully and arrange their goods for the market. Breads and pastries warm in ovens, the fragrance drifting into alleys and courtyards. Herbs and spices glint in the morning light, their vivid colors enhanced by the gentle glow. The few remaining night travelers watch, quietly observing the city's daily awakening. Life, both simple and profound, resumes without haste, maintaining the tranquil rhythm established throughout the night. Children, roused from sleep, begin to play softly in courtyards and near fountains. Their laughter, too gentle, carries across stone streets, blending seamlessly with birdsong and the rustle of leaves. Dogs stretch lazily in the sunlight, while cats pad carefully along rooftops, their movements cautious and deliberate. The city is alive with sound and movement, yet every element maintains the calm dignity of Jerusalem, honoring both the passing night and the promise of a new day. From the eastern gate, travelers depart slowly, their footsteps echoing softly across the worn stones. Pilgrims continue onward, merchants prepare for early customers, and watchmen stand vigilant, eyes alert but calm. The city, steadfast and enduring, offers both protection and continuity, a reminder that life flows gently through centuries, and that every day, no matter how ordinary, carries the echo of countless dawns that have come before. Dear listener, imagine standing among the first rays of sunlight, feeling the warmth on your face, hearing the soft chorus of birds, and witnessing the city gently stretch into life. The ancient walls, the cobbled streets, the olive groves beyond, and the quiet presence of all who dwell here create a perfect harmony of peace, continuity, and gentle awakening. Every sound, every movement, every breath contributes to the soft promise of a new day, and the tranquil rhythm of life continues, uninterrupted and serene. As the city embraces morning fully, our journey through its night comes to a close. Jerusalem has offered rest, reflection, and calm, guiding each listener through centuries of peaceful nights, stories shared by pilgrims, watchmen's tales, and the serene harmony of life, both within and beyond the walls. And now, as the spoken story ends, an hour of relaxing music will follow, carrying you further into restorative sleep or quiet contemplation. The city's heartbeat, its ancient stones, and the gentle rhythm of daily life will linger in your mind, a soft, enduring lullaby from the heart of medieval Jerusalem. As our story comes to a close, the first rays of morning touch Jerusalem's walls. The city awakens slowly. Lanterns dim, doors open, birdsong rises, and the olive groves sway gently in the light. Pilgrims stretch, merchants prepare their markets, and the watchmen conclude their night shifts. Dear listener, take a deep breath, and let the serenity of the city linger with you. Feel the calm of the night, the gentle rhythm of footsteps on cobblestones, and the timeless presence of Jerusalem's ancient walls. Every sound, every whisper, every movement carries a sense of continuity, peace, and gentle reflection. As always, after this spoken story, an hour of relaxing music will continue to guide you into deeper rest, sleep, or quiet contemplation. Let the harmony of the city, the calm of the night, and the promise of a new day accompany you into tranquility. Thank you for joining us tonight. May your dreams be peaceful, and may the quiet streets of Jerusalem stay with you until the first light of dawn.